Welcome to Guiding Voices, where we celebrate mentorship, perseverance, and the power of education that transform lives. Today, we are honored to have one of our mentors. Is by name Seun Oloruntoba. Is a seasoned professional and a spiritual leader with over 15 years of impactful experience in the energy sector. Beyond his professional success, he is a passionate mentor, a beacon of inspiration for embracing innovation, leadership, and spiritual growth. Join us as we delve into, I call him Brushing, Mr. Seun Oloruntoba's incredible journey from his engineering roots in Nigeria to global impact through ministry and mentorship. I would say welcome, sir. I know it's been a whole lot of journey for you. You travel a lot, and it's such a blessing, to have you today to kind of discuss everything about you. So thank you, sir. Welcome.
Thanks
Okay,
for having me.
thank you for coming to. I'll just start one question, and when I ask the question, sir, you can twist it the way you want. Tell us everything about everything that you think we should know. So I would say that can you share your story from going from engineering or maybe from high school to engineering and what really inspired engineering? Because a whole lot of us have different reasons why we ended up in engineering.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, and excellent job being done by We Guide Learning Initiative, and thanks
Thank
so
you.
much for that. In terms of my story to engineering, I think, like you said, almost everybody have different stories. So somehow growing up from secondary, I actually, at a point, I wanted to actually do medicine and be a medical doctor. And in the course of that, I think I did one JAMB exam and I scored. In those days, I think I didn't meet up with a cutoff for medicine in Uni Loring then. So I came back home thinking, do I go again for medicine? So I had a conversation. In the course of that, I had a conversation with an uncle. And in the conversation with the uncle said, I think you should go for engineering, especially electrical engineering. And what he said was funny and it was profound. He said, as a doctor, you'll be comfortable. But as an engineer, you can actually hit it big. So, to some extent, that actually changed my course. And I did the next jump, electrical electronics then. And I actually beat the cutoff point. And even though I went to FUTA, we jump, I was taken. Then later again, I came to IFE again on direct entry again. So the same electrical electronics engineering. So he got excited from that point. And I think the key thing about it is the fact that sometimes the points and where you actually get your light for the future differs. So that statement was actually a light to me, not really much alone, just because of the fact that he said, oh, you can hit it. But I see beyond that in the fact that it's possible for me to delve into several things from engineering space than being in a medical space where to me, I may be restricted. So, and I think that is something that was a light to me, a kind of a motivation. And since then, it's been on. So, and I'm grateful I actually took that decision. I never had a regret about it any day.
Okay, nice. And I know you went to a university that is quite known for training students to be very perseverant. Well, to have good perseverance skills. Pardon me for that. And I also say that Obafemi Awolowo University specifically, it's that space where you can walk on the streets praying and nobody will even ask you. You can walk on the road speaking in tongues and nobody will say, what's happening to this person? It's just a very evangelized community. How did your experience in OAU, Obafemi Awolowo University, shape both your professional and spiritual journey?
Wow. I would say that's one of an exciting question and one that I would really love to actually answer very well. Because I'll tell you that my experience in OAU was actually mind blowing. It was a kind of a solid foundation for who I am today. First of all, looking at OAU in terms of my personality, OAU helped me to build that tenacity, that grit, For instance, I have situations whereby you have an exam tomorrow and you can read till like almost 3 a.m. the next day, sleep for 2 hours and go ahead and do the text or exam by 8 a.m. So in those times, so even though we never knew at that point that there was some strength we were getting through those processes, you get a textbook, OAU is a place where there's nothing like an handout, you have to go. So sometimes in single topics, you are getting 3, 4, 5 textbooks to read for it. So it unknown to us that we were actually being built for the future. So, and what this does for me is that in all my career, it has built that confidence in me, irrespective of anywhere I get to, irrespective of the documents that I want to review, irrespective of the task of a project, irrespective of how tenacious a situation is. When I remember my experience in OAU and how it has helped, it just built that confidence in me that there is nothing like in the Nigeria something, and then heaven will not fall. It builds that grit that no, I can do it, and that confidence continues to be a strength. I really, really appreciate much, even though the system me never knew that they were actually building those strengths. Then when you now talk about the spiritual, I was also fortunate when I was also in OAU. It was one of the greatest spiritual strength that I actually had. First of all, I was also the president of my fellowship for the whole of Osun State, then first for Oyo and Osun State, and later for Osun State Apostolic Faith Campus Fellowship. And I was busy with a lot of stuff, and also beyond being busy for the work of God was the fact that I was able to build a relationship. For instance, there's a place in OAU we call the Sports Center. I go constantly to Sports Center every morning and evening, almost to the last day I got there. I'm trying to remember when I started, but from the time I started, I think maybe at 300 level or so, that I started going. I go there a minimum most times of twice a day. I'll go early in the morning, I go in the evening. Having relationship, not that I was going there to go and ask for cars or houses, just to fellowship. And to be frank with you, it was there the Lord gave me the pattern of my future. It was there I got the roadmap of my life. It was there I got almost everything that I needed, to the extent that I was already employed before I left OAU. And I would say at least I was already in a training. Don't let me use the word. I was already in a training, and that training led to the employment, even right before I left there. All these were things that God helped with. And also in terms of my performance, irrespective of what it is, one of the things I do is that even though I was a president, I'm not expected to graduate with a low result or low GPA. It's not acceptable. So one of the strategies I use is the fact that most of the campus program, because I travel to almost all campuses in Osun State, you talk of College of Education in Laorogun, I go as far back as Ejibo, I go as far as Ilesha, I go to Ilesha almost every month for meetings, I go as far back as Lautech for different programs. But one thing was this, I plan most of those programs to early in the semester. So once the semester is getting towards the middle of the semester towards, I shut down all those things and I face my studies. And to the glory of God, I even though I graduated with a 2-1, and I even, despite being busy, there is no excuse for a spiritual leader to go out there without delivering a result that glorifies God. So, and that is just the journey. OAU is an excellent place. Even after I left OAU, I continuously goes to OAU, even for personal retreats, because the place just gets adjusted to me, and I just enjoy the scenery of the spiritual environment, as well as the spiritual, and as well as the tenacity of the academics rigor that it builds into me there.
Yes, I can attest to kind of a little bit of part of it, especially from your story, and maybe because obviously I know you, and you are one of the people that you might not know. You might not know this. Over the years, even when I was an undergrad, by the way, I was an undergrad in the same department with Brasheum, so I quite kind of have an idea. You are someone that plans a lot, and you love to learn a lot. Then you are always on a course. Once you finish one course, you're already registering for another course. You are always registering for another course. So I'm not surprised that you are a leader in organizational learning and human performance in one of the topmost oil and gas sector in Nigeria. So I want to ask that question. How do you then balance the technical expertise, the ministry, and all of this work you do? Because I know you do a lot of work with your responsibility as an organizational learning and human performance advisor.
Okay, thanks so much. So I have this principle. I actually have one life and not a compartmentalized life. What that means is the fact that it's a single life that flows into many areas. So everything must align. So, and that is actually one of the basic principles that helps in doing a lot of things. Like you said, professionally, I do a lot of professional course. Almost every time I'm on a course. Definitely currently I'm on a course. So then I also have my job, which is organizational learning. And before then, I've worked in different fields, risk management process advisors, and several other jobs that I've done, works in operations, training, so many things. Then also the spiritual one, which by God's grace, God Security Renewal Center in several states, almost 9 states in Nigeria, doing several programs, weekly, monthly, and several stuffs like that. So the question is that one of the things that has helped is that over the time, I've seen my spiritual life as a bedrock to everything about my existence. So I have seen God as the one that is the lifter of men. So, and I know that in all the achievements of life, everything I may have done or have done in terms of my career and everything is finally issue aligned to bring glory to God. And I must find a platform that must be bringing glory to God, irrespective of the money or anything I may be making in terms of careers and everything. If it is not finding an expression in God, if it is not finding an expression in the purpose of creation in which God has made me, in the purpose of my calling, because my calling first is to Him. So, and that is how I see life. And that is one of the strengths that helps me, in the sense that, first of all, you must find a conviction within you for everything you do. There must be a conviction whereby it is not about somebody telling you, it is not about somebody telling me you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Like you said, sometimes I have several programs. Like today now, I just finished a program like some few minutes ago, and I'm having this. If not, that I actually canceled another program that would have had 2, and I just finished the work also, not quite long. So balancing it, I think the key thing I do is that you can't manage time. There's nothing like called time management. You manage activities in time, because you don't manage what is fixed, what is a constant. You manage what is not a constant. So time is a constant. So you don't really manage time. You manage activities in time. And that is what I try to do. So one of the things I do is that I'm a bit strategic, in the sense that I'm already thinking of something coming, and I'm looking at what are the key factors that I need. So for everything that I have to do, I use the 80-20 rule, in the sense that what I actually need to move the needle is not big. I need to get that thing. So for instance, I look at my career. What do I need to do to actually excel as a person, for instance? The key thing is that any job I do, it must carry my signature. It must have something around it that, oh, this is a top-notch job. Who did this job? It is this. So when you continuously carry that top notch, your job and everything you do in terms of career, carry that signature, what it does for you is the fact that for years you continue to enjoy it because you already have a view that people has about you. You already have a perception that people have about you. And that is one of the first things that you have to build a career. What that helps you to do is the fact that while you are busy doing other things, the time you allocate to do those things, you do a quality job. And that is one of the things I try to do. And another thing is focus on one thing at a time. Focus on one thing at a time. Once it is time to work, you work. And most times I ensure that anything about ministry or anything is most times outside of work time. That is when I give to that. And I try, because naturally too, people that are not believers also spend time doing something else. The only other thing is that I don't have much of social life. Let me say that. What I mean, you can hardly say very few, maybe one or two weddings in a year, or maybe one or two occasions in a year of people that are maybe very close to me or some stuff. So I actually spend my time judiciously. So with that, and the value of that is the fact that it is not something. I don't believe in the fact that it is when you retire that you begin to do the things of God. Whatsoever you have not started doing, you can't continue to hear God in that perception. You can't be the best in it. So, and when God says that it's time to do something, even though you are still working, you are doing this, there are things you can do. And another thing is this: you leverage on the opportunity you have. I do well with young people. I talk, I challenge young people, I mentor young people. So that is an area that I know that even from career perspective, therefore spiritually too, it becomes easier for me to leverage on that. And that is why most of the people that we are in the group and everything, in the spiritual group and everything, are people that also, I don't know, it's not only about their spiritual life, their career. We discuss their career. We do a lot of stuff. We have productivity sessions. I ask them about their growth, their personal development, and even their family personal development. Because you can't be developing with your spouse, not developing. Oh, what's your plan for your kids and all those stuff like that? We're mostly young adults as well as young people. So because of that, so I leverage on that opportunity to also. So there's a kind of a linkage between. So another thing is because I do a lot of courses, so I'm able to speak into almost many things. So if somebody says, "Oh, I want to do data science," oh, let's talk about data science. Oh, artificial intelligence. Oh, let's talk about AI. Somebody's talking about business or some stuff. I was discussing some business idea with somebody like a week ago, giving him ideas of setup and everything. It was just writing down. So what that does for you is that it attracts people to you, because that's one of the first principles of Jesus. Yeah, it brings people to himself, then it presents the gospel to them. So there's a way all of them merges together to help in actually producing a total person. And at the end of the day, be able to deliver the ultimate aim of the Father, which is God, for our creation.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. So basically, if we put it in a best form, is that our value is found in our impact. Basically, it's not in those degrees and certificates that we're able to gather. It's about the impact we're able to make, and the best impact you can make is to make sure you find what your calling is and be able to sit down in that space, embrace it, and run with it. And I thank you very much, obviously, for that very lovely and I would say robust way of answering that question, because it's very important. We can manage time, we can manage our energy, basically. So energy management, knowing what to do per time, and like you said, focus on what your focus is at that time. That might be a little difficult for some of us that are women, because sometimes we're working, you're beginning to think about what are they going to have for dinner tonight. When am I picking up that from the store? But thank you very much, sir. Before we go on that question, I wanted you to speak on God Seekers Renewal Center. I know it's a project and it's a ministry work for you, and it's also for young adults and young people, young professionals coming together on the platform of God, but again growing together in every aspect of life. I wanted to ask, what led you to start the ministry? I know obviously you like to work with young people, and I know that you're extremely busy, and I know that you travel a lot, even I mean outside of the country, but yet you have a ministry where you are always present. There must be something that was yearning in your heart that made you to start God's Seekers Renewal Center.
Okay, thanks so much for that question. Lord Seekers Renewal Center is a non-denominational group that is actually saddled with the responsibility to disciple young people and young adults, majorly towards becoming like Christ. And it started as a group of 4 people. So we came together, 3 other people. We said, let's start praying together, studying the Word of God. Because the challenge sometimes is that in a normal denominational settings, many times we get so busy with so many things that even the most critical things, sometimes we could not have time for it. So we just said, okay, can't we just be getting together and just focus on just the Word of God and prayers, nothing more, nothing less, and then beginning to commune together as a family. And by the grace of God, started around 2016, and around 2016, so we even started in OAU too. It will be funny because it's the same OAU I keep referencing. So we met in OAU. I traveled down from Lagos to OAU. We are meeting every quarter then. We actually met in OAU for almost 2 years. And from there, when we realized we are now getting more people to join us, so when we meet, we come on Friday, use the whole of Saturday and everything. Then what the Lord was adding to us, we came to Redemption Camp, and we've been in Redemption Camp now for over 6 years now that we've been in, about 6 years now that we've been in Redemption Camp. We use those places for retreats and as well. We do different programs, and like I said, we do Bible study, discipleship session. And in addition to that, we do what we call Solemn Assembly, where people come and from different states. I think the last one we had last year, we have people from about 9 states in the country, from Asaba, Benin, and several other places like that, and by the grace of God. And the key thing is the fact that it has been proven that when people have high connection with God, even their earthly success is guaranteed. The reason being the fact that God's word actually acts as a strength to actually cause a transformation. And that transformation is what also is required for development as well as becoming who you should be. So, and what God Seeker now does is we also have what we call productivity sessions and all the rest. So, by the time we're now coming together spiritually, we go ahead and say, okay, we should do something more. So, how can we help everybody to grow? Because one of the other challenge you could have is the fact that irrespective of how you are as believers and brethren, the Bible says that the apostles have everything as one. The concept that they have everything as one does not necessarily is the fact that in today's context is the fact that they were all growing at the same level. And that was one of the things we tried to do. So among us, we have medical doctors. We have a lot of PhD. We have PhDs, doctors. We have different professionals, engineer, accountants, and several other people among us. So what we continuously do is to actually propel each of us to performance, and to also see how, when we see young people that joined us, we try as much as possible to know what they're doing, and also to see how to guide them. By the grace of God, we've been able to guide a lot of people and also support some in the way we can towards their development. For instance, presently we have, apart from the group, we have about 3 different groups, subgroups. We have the tech group. Under us, we have the tech enthusiastic people. These are people that are enthusiastic about technologies and everything. people, students and young adults at Java, doing all those stuffs, JavaScript, learning AI, and so many other stuff, back end, front end developers, and all the rest like that. So we have another group we call the entrepreneur. Those also had young adults as well as youths that are interested in entrepreneur. We now have what we call the professional group. These are the people that are professionals, medical doctors, teachers, engineers, and everything like that. So, and what we've done is that even this year we try to see how we can encourage them. We did some grants. We had some grants that the Lord helps us with to support each of them. They come up with their business proposal, the technology proposals, and different other proposals. And what the Lord helps us with, we were able to help with also. So trying to see how we support also the young people towards becoming who they should be. And lastly, one other thing we do is to actually, because one of the things that I realize the young people actually lack is information. So we create a group that we call Youth Alive, where we post almost every day scholarship opportunity. That is actually being managed by one of our academics brother, who is actually a lecturer outside Nigeria. So he and one other person also, who is also a lecturer in Nigeria, two of them manages the group where we post scholarship opportunities, development opportunities, both across in Nigeria as well as abroad and several other places. All this we do so that the Lord can help in having a total man and a total woman at the end of the day. So that is just a bit about God seekers. We are grateful to God. Everything has been done to the glory of God. Everything has been done with nobody in reference, but only Christ and Him crucified.
Well done, sir. I am inspired. I am impressed, and I'm happy, and especially because you see, you said something about the blessings that come after doing God's work, and the truth about it is that being blessed or prosperity is a byproduct of impact. When you are impactful, you are on an impact journey, money will come. There are no two ways about it. You can't be working, to glorify God, to help lives, to bring to pass the fulfillment of scriptures, right? Bringing everybody up as you go up. It's not like, oh, it's only me going up. I'm the only leader that I just want to be here. I don't want anyone to go above me. And that way, that's not leadership and that's not mentorship. And thank you so much for that. I'm bringing you on a spot right now. There's something you always like to say, and I picked it from you. You said there is no advantage in gaining speed in the wrong direction. And you said that word once. I know maybe you might not remember you said it, but you said it once one time we were having a conversation, specifically in 2021. You made that statement. And I see that an answer to that, one of the answers to that is not just an answer to that. There are many answers to that. But one of the important answers to that is mentorship. Being able to find someone to kind of snatch you back very quickly in case you're beginning to take the wrong direction. So after running, because for example, for me, it took me a very long time to accept the fact that I am an educator. It took me a very long time. Maybe because I just didn't want to accept the fact that I'm a teacher, or maybe because I felt that being an engineer, I'm called to the industry. But one thing I found out with me is that when I teach or when I instruct, I'm very excited. Even if the money is not going to be as big as the industry, I come out very excited. I come out feeling like I've been able to transfer, knowledge to people. I've been able to give. I've been able to sow seed, and I see teaching as one of the best investments in the world. So I wanted you to talk about the importance of mentorship in professional growth, mentorship, even in spiritual growth, like in all-round good mentorship, even in marital success, on all around life. How can you describe the importance of mentorship as you've seen it all your career and your profession and everything?
Well, I think I'll also start from what you said about the fact that when you're in the wrong direction, speed is not an advantage. And
Exactly.
I think that that's a very strong word. And I was still discussing with somebody today. I said life is about decisions. And decisions are made So many times decisions are made based on information. And when decisions are made based on information, and information is about what is available to you. Information does not necessarily mean what is available in the global world. Information is about what is available to you. And that is where mentorship comes in the sense that almost everything that you need in life, there is an information about it. There is something that can actually help you in addressing it. But the challenge most times is the fact that how do you have access to it? So what mentorship does, to be frank with you, I think the more I grow, the more I see value in mentoring because I'm mentorship. And the reason being the fact that I may have been privileged to take some decisions and be guided and everything. Just like the example I gave about engineer and medical doctors and everything that I gave earlier. To me, that was profound. And today, what that man said is 100% to me today. And that's the fact. I'm not saying to everybody, I mean to myself. Because some also have the love medicine, some love engineering. So it's just about interest, you know. But where I'm going is the fact that what mentorship does first is the fact that it provides for you information that may take you 30, 40 years to achieve. So many times I like to use marriage as an instance about mentorship. And the reason being the fact that when a young man wants to marry, his perception of marriage is always, if not guided, you will ask the same man 10 years after, he will tell you that he now has the right perception. Not that he was doing something wrong before, but the fact is that there was several information that you learn by experience. But if you accept mentorship, you gain those experiences without going through, you gain those learnings from the experiences without going through the experiences, in which most times those experiences are not palatable. They are not. So where I'm going is the fact that mentorship actually helps you to get results, to get value from something without actually necessarily going through the rigor and the challenges of the way. And that is what it does for you, because you are getting information straight and direct from the oven where you have never entered. Somebody that entered there is giving it to you free of charge. But you know, the challenge also is the fact that that is why a lot of people don't appreciate it, because they want to go in there. But unfortunately, many times, you may not even be fortunate to come out of it. So mentoring to me is actually something that is very critical because, like I said, it provides for you those information that naturally you would have struggled to get. It guides you beyond the knowledge that you have. Let me say that second one is about knowledge that you have. For instance, there are things that many of the decisions that people are taking today is based on the fact that their perception of tomorrow, of the information available to them. But do you know that in a boardroom, just imagine a boardroom where decisions are being taken about an organization. And now you have somebody from that boardroom mentoring you and telling you, go and do this course, go and do this. How and why is he saying? Because he has a lot of inside information, which naturally he may not even divulge to you, but he will be guiding you into productive areas that he knows that this is where decisions of the organization or the world in general is going. There are several documents that you may not even have access to read. There were several meetings or webinars or, for instance, World Economic Forums and several places where you may not even be able to enter, or you may not have access to know somebody that goes there, that all these people may have had knowledge. And beyond that also is the fact that They've gone through the process. There are several things they've done that has hurt them, and they've learned from it. And they're saying, I don't want you to make the same mistake that I made. So things like that. So mentoring actually saves you from a lot of challenges that you may have. It's also provide information for you that you may never get. It also guides you into future that will definitely be of help to you, in which naturally you may not see it at that time when you are being mentored. So I think mentoring is something that is very crucial and very, very important, because in addition, there are several soft skills that people will not tell you. That, for instance, a student will always think about reading as the only way to make things. It doesn't look at, but the mentors will begin to tell him. So what mentoring actually does to me is helping someone to shape the rough edges of his life, because it will help you to shape the rough edges and make you to come out as a good finished product.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Mentorship is a cheat sheet, if you get what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you're kind of cheating. You're kind of cheat sheet. And I can imagine, if many of us did have, mentors that could pour into us based on what they see from us or see through us as our skills, and not necessarily, basic, not degrees, but our personality as it comes out and and that's why we're grateful for the opportunity to obviously create a free mentorship program for all African students anywhere. And I'm speaking to someone today that has multiple degrees, and that's how I want us to end the conversation today. It has multiple degrees, not just in Nigeria, from the United States of America, from the United Kingdom, all across many spaces, an MBA, in engineering, data science, AI, machine learning, and all the likes. And you still work in Nigeria. And I am also, it becomes really difficult sometimes to have that conversation with people, to say that you don't really need to leave the country or leave Africa as a whole, before you start making impact, or before you can kind of live that life you really want. So I want you to finish our conversation today by, first of all, speaking to young people and letting them know that being in the place where you're supposed to be is very important, not just following the crowd, something around that. And also inviting them to join our mentorship program, because you are one of our mentors, and you are even one of a mentor to me too, right? So I just wanted us to close this conversation that way, sir.
Thanks so much for that question. And I think, like you said, the first thing that everybody needs to first do is actually to discover himself or herself. And like we just discussed, mentoring is actually one of the things that actually helps, because a mentor sees you more than you see yourself. He sees skills in you that you are good in that you yourself don't identify. So, and that is one of the things. So when you discover yourself, then you also want to discover the environment where you will thrive. Now, just like you said, the first thing that should come to a young person is not actually traveling to US or anywhere, even though it may come. First is to think of adding value to himself, to become someone being sorted after. That is the first thing. And in the process, it may now lead to anything. It may lead to you traveling to Canada, to US, to everywhere. It may also lead for you to be in Nigeria or other African countries. So the first thing is just first get that. And there are times also that be in Nigeria sometimes, for some times, actually act as a good foundation for your future. So let's discuss that. When you are a young graduate, there are several opportunities. So Africa is a growing economy. Africa is a developing economy. So to be frank with you, the opportunities that are in Nigeria is much, even for young people. And how do I say that? First of all, setting up an organization in Nigeria, you almost have all the supports you need to do that. And one of the things you need to know is the fact that once you discover yourself, do you want to go into academics? Do you want to actually set up an establishment? Do you want to be a career person? Once you have discovered that, continue to pursue it. There is no need for you. If you have applied for a master's in Canada and you have not been picked, go to Unilag, go to OAU, start something. Don't waste your time. It may be when you are doing PhD or even a postdoc that an opportunity will come over there. And at that point, you may decide to go there. And secondly, the fact that over the times, I have seen that Nigeria also has its values in terms of provide. To be fair and frank with you, Nigeria is one of the least cost where education is the cost of education is just minimal. In Nigeria today, you can finish a master's program with $1,000. So what do that tells you? The same thing you will finish with about 20-something, 30-something, or 40-something $1,000 somewhere outside the country. So which means that if I'm not getting that, so one of the advice I just want to give first to young people is this. Oh, you try to travel out of the country, it's not giving you something. That should not be the first thing. Because even if you travel, if you don't have something that they must sort out for in you, you will get there and be struggling. So the key thing is that first identify what is that value that you want to add. What is that thing that you actually want to add? Once you identify that, then don't also be fixated to say until I enter Canada. No, if it is this, continue. If it is a business, start it over in Nigeria. You may have challenges. Do you know what it does for you? If you are running a logistics company in Nigeria as a young entrepreneur and you can run it successfully, despite the challenges in Nigeria, I can tell you there is nowhere in the world that you can run such a business. So what Nigeria actually does for young people is to act as a training school, because it is, like they always say in Prince 2 exam, they said Prince 2 means project in a controlled environment. But Nigeria is such a place that Prince 2 may not really apply much because it is not a controlled environment. So when you are able to do business successfully, learn academics successfully in an uncontrolled environment where you are not sure of power in the afternoon, where the person that the logistic person can fail you, and you can still run something successful, that's amazing. Even when you travel out, I always use Inyolu Aboyeji as a good example. Co-founder of Flutterwave, and currently a founder. Is also a co-founder of Andela, one of those top African. He's also a Pan-African person. He actually studied in Canada, and from Canada he packed all his luggages and came back to Nigeria. It's one of the co-founder of Flutterwave. You know Flutterwave is one of the unicorn in Nigeria. He left Flutterwave, also funded Andela. Is one of the top policymakers, young entrepreneur in Nigeria. Go and check him up. So what I'm trying to say is the fact that even though he had so he discovered that he has more opportunity where in Nigeria. Even the parents didn't understand him. He wrote that the parents for almost 6 months they didn't have a good relationship because they said, we wanted you to stay over in Canada. You are coming over. Where I'm going is the fact that discover yourself and look at the environment. Nigeria still has so much opportunities that are yet to be discovered, so much values that are yet to be discovered. And like I said, to do all this, you need guidance, you need mentoring, and that is where We Guide Actually Learn initiative comes in. To me, I think it's a very good opportunity, because what several people actually lacked is actually that guide. Because even the resources, you can be guided to the resources in terms of money that you need and some stuff. You can be guided into, because the challenge many people have is that the first thing we think about when we're talking about career development or anything is resources, money, most times. But to be frank with you, money is not the first thing. I have a friend that's the first thing we always say when we were growing up. When we were in Ife then, he said, money will come. He's currently today, he's in NVIDIA. He said, money will come. And he's sure. You know, he said, it's not as if he has money anywhere. He was also from a family that more or less, everybody are just putting things, the normal thing in Nigeria. But he believes that money is not the first thing. And that works for him. And that is the fact. The fact is that guidance, being guided, being mentored is actually the first thing. Knowing what to do, how to go about it, with the resources you need, the guidance. There are books to read. There are programs to listen to. There are conferences to attend that will change your mentality, will change your perception, will change your, and those are the things. Actually, the greatest change we need is ourselves. And that can only come through guidance and mentorship, and that can help us to beam a light onto us and be able to see those micro content of our person that are not visible to us. So I encourage you, come over to We Guide Learning Initiatives. And I believe they have a lot of seasoned professionals as mentors. And I've seen I've seen the list of the mentors. There are a lot of people that some of them I know, they're amazing people that have had a Pan-African, they've gone through experiences from Africa to North America, Canada, and all the rest, Canada, United States, some also maybe in other places in the world. So it's going to be an amazing place. And I see We Guide becoming a strong initiative with so many partnerships coming over from the government, policies, and everything, because young people need those things. And that is why I'm also calling government organization, calling some other people also, like-minded people. You can send people here from your locality. You see in your area, young people are going into fraudulent things and you want to guide them. Send them to We Guide. I'm telling you, you're going to get something out of them. You have church member, people that you want to see them become something. The first thing you need to give young people is not just money, it's guidance. And so please bring them to We Guide Learning Initiative. And I believe they will become a new person. Just like the scripture says that Saul became a new man when the Spirit of God came upon him. So same will come upon them. When they come to We Guide, they'll become a new person in terms of change their mentality, change their perception, build grit in them, help them to have focus, help them to have decision for the future and beliefs in themselves that they can make it. Thank you.
And thank you very much, sir. And our mentorship program is free. It's absolutely free. You're paying no money. And thank you to all our mentors, and especially to Brasheum. Brasheum, thank you so much for coming on to. He's one of our mentors. I'm not sure how many times you are going to be able to find him booked out, because I'm sure as he appears, some of us also book, because we need guidance as well. Thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate you. And for people that want to know details about God Seekers Ministry, we're going to put the link in the description below, just in case you want to fellowship with the team down at Redemption Camp. And also, we will leave you a contact email address to reach out to them. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. We want to transform learning in Africa, and our goal is to reach every African in every corner of Africa. So come onto the website. You're going to see the website as well in the description. Have a good day, everybody, and see you on our next episode. Bye for now.